Hello, everybody, and welcome to the North American Star League Season number 2. This is going to be Week 2, Division 3. And I'm so excited because we have a lot of great matches coming your way. Before we get into that, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. I am Andre Greatrope Hangshort, and alongside me is one Jake LZ Gamer Winstead from Team Evil Geniuses. Jake, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you, Andre?
I'm doing wonderful. Of course, Jake, you are from Team Evil Genius. As I said before, for all of those people out there that don't know quite about you, why don't you go ahead and tell them?
All right, I'm a professional Zerg player for Team Evil Geniuses. I've played Terran for a long time, though, and recently switched to Zerg for a couple months ago. Yep, we have a lot of amazing sponsors and a lot of great teammates that I think we're actually going to see some of today.
Yes, we are going to see some of your teammates. Players like Idra, that's going to be the big guy that everybody, for the most part, knows. He is kind of the bad boy of the Starcraft scene. I don't know. The guy has a very interesting outlook on not only the game, but how you should act in the game. The guy's a little cutie bear. Love that guy. But nevertheless, let's go ahead and look at all of the matches we have for today. So we have Huangsin versus Idra, of course, your boy, starting things off. Second game is going to be Softball versus Sake. Third match, we're going to have Jinro versus Morrow. Really cool match over there. And last but not least, we're going to tie things up with Show versus KiwiKaki. A great 4 series. I think all of these players definitely deserve to be in the North American Star League.
Oh yeah, they're amazing players. I'm really looking forward to 2 matches in particular. Jinro versus Morrow.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to, and of course, Idra. You know,
Huangsin versus Idra. Yeah.
Maybe a little biasm. You know, and I love seeing. You know, Huangsin is an amazing Korean player on Team Gosu, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it's Gosu. The guy has been playing really, really well. Made a huge run in MLG. I know you've actually had some experience with him too.
Yeah,
so it's going to be great to see, you know, a player, especially a Zerg player, know his style and know what to expect. So a lot of competitive insight probably coming from you.
I'm sure.
I cannot wait for that. But you know what? Before we go into all the matchups in particular, I do want to go over the maps first. So Emmett, let's go ahead and get to the maps. We have Dual Site, Belshir Beach, and Shattered Temple. A great list, I think, of maps. Now, we saw these maps earlier in the week. No, not this week. Last week. Earlier last week. Of course, it makes its reprisal again this week around. And what you're going to find out is every single division actually plays every single map group. This time, Division 3 is going to be playing map group B. Really, really cool to have these maps in particular. Let's go ahead and look at the first map. It is going to be Dual Site. Now, Dual Site we talked about a lot, and both of us really, really like this map.
Yeah, it's a great map. It has a good balance of, you know, it has easy to take expansions, but at the same time, it's not a long distance from base to base, so it allows for that aggression. It's 2 entrances really into that natural kind of thing with that back path that also has that fog of war, I guess you could say, or something. So yeah, it has a lot of different styles that can be played on that map.
Yeah, definitely. Now, one thing to mention in today's broadcast, we're going to have 3 versus Protoss matchups. We have, let's see, Huangsin playing, we have Sake playing, and we have KiwiKaki playing. And Dual Site is a very, very interesting map for Protoss. I feel like, especially for them, their third base is so difficult to take. It's always going to be either the 6 o'clock position or the 12 o'clock position. But we've seen previously, you know, players take that much, much later. So a little bit of a change. We're going to be seeing this 2-base Protoss. We're not normally used to seeing 2-base Protoss. They usually stay on defensive on 2-base, go to 3-base really, really defensively, and then play from there. This time, it's almost going to be like a blast to the past. From the beta days, you know, when everybody used to 2-base Protoss.
Yeah, where everyone played for that 2-base macro Protoss, where you would have that, you'd almost get your full tech off of those 2 bases, and you would go to straight up to like 150 supply before even thinking about taking a third. Yeah, so we will be seeing strategies like that. So yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching that map, really see the new styles that come over because it is a new map. Speaking of new maps, we have our second one, Belshir Beach. Now, Belshir Beach is another interesting map that I think both of us really like. But you know what? As a Zerg player, we do have a couple Zerg matchups coming into this. How are you feeling with?
I feel like this is a great Zerg map, to be honest. Like it just it screams Zerg versus Protoss, where I feel like Zerg can really have an advantage versus Protoss with all the different ways of counterattacking, and being able just to get that easy third base.
Yeah, the third is very close, and along with that, you have a natural progression for a fourth. Gold expansion exists there, although the gold expansion might be a little bit tough to take.
It's a little
even
bit rocky to take that.
TVZ and PVZ, I really feel like, you just go capture that Zelnaga tower, and all of a sudden, your opponent is bearing down on your gold expansion. But still, really, really cool map, because I think it helps all the races and mobility. Drops of all things. You have the Warp Prism annoying things. We saw Cruncher do things with Warp Prisms before. Players like White Raw as well. A lot of people are actually starting to use Warp Prisms, and I'm sure for you it's going to be a Zerg nightmare as you go down the line. I know it's actually being really, really annoying for me, but I have things like Vikings to clean things up, that kind of stuff. Zerg, not so much really in PvZ. I mean, it's hard to track those down too much, but Belshire Beach, definitely a cool map. Again, a lot of macro, but at the same time, a lot of harass. Can't wait for that. And our third map is going to be the Shattered Temple. Now, this is an old school map. I've heard some people, Mr. Bitter came in last season, says he doesn't really like it for Zerg. I've heard other players like Idro saying, okay, it's all right for Zerg.
Yeah.
What's your take on it?
I'm going to go with Mr. Bitter on this one. I don't really like it for Zerg. You can't really take that. You can't really play a Lasura style and get that super fast third if you wanted to, because there's rocks blocking all the close by expansions.
Yeah.
So it really, forces you to play more of a, especially in a Zerg versus Protoss, which we're going to see Idra and Hwangson play. It's going to force more of maybe an Infestor style play, maybe a Destiny-esque kind of opening. It's not necessarily a bad map for Zerg, I don't believe, but it does, I feel like, help Terran and Protoss to where they can get their third base around the same time as a Zerg.
Yeah, a big thing about this is Terran and Protoss can go and grab that gold expansion very fast, because they have those hard-hitting units, the Marauders, the Zealots, the Stalkers, things like that. So they can take those down very fast, whereas Zerg, they have those flimsy little Zerglings that are dealing 2-3 damage against the rocks, taking forever, really, to kill those. So it is, of course, an opportunity cost, because you want to be doing a lot more active things with your with your Zerglings. I have no clue what that was. Apparently
Somebody forgot to turn off the phone. Probably
Emmett out there.
Yeah.
It's just coming all the way.
When in doubt, blame him.
Blame Emmett when in doubt. Nevertheless, I really feel like the Shattered Temple is going to be an exciting third map. I think it has a lot of potential to be a very, very strong, almost, closer for the best of three.
Definitely.
Just, you see,
I think also about the map is, I think it really is great for macro games too. Like, a lot of times on Shattered Temple, we see players go up to like 4 and 5 bases even. And even the maps where they split completely in half. So I think it creates a really entertaining game as well.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And you know what? I think, again, just going back to that macro style, a little bit safer, a little bit like you can get your third and it's pretty safe, because if the other side of the Destructible Rocks is going to be killed. Things like that, it really creates this narrative of the macro map. And it's nice going from like high aggression, which I consider dual sight, to like this Belshire Beach, which is high aggression through harass, but you're secretly trying to get a lot of money.
You're secretly expanding the whole time.
Exactly. And this one, it's like, okay, well, you can harass, but it's not as effective as Belshire Beach. I'm going to get my huge army, and boom, let's go.
Right.
That's how it works. So can't wait to see this every single best of 3 series, and you know what? I'm looking forward to the maps. Let's go ahead and look into the individual matchups. So we have as our fourth and final match, it's going to be Jinro, or excuse me, not Jinro. What am I doing? Show versus KiwiKaki.
It's hard to tell apart those great Terran players.
I know, man.
I mean, when you have 2 great Terran players, sometimes they just kind of mesh together.
I know. Then I realized, oh, wait, it's the one that has 60 APM.
Yeah, exactly.
But he has 60. I consider him the Axlav of Terran.
The Axlav of Terran?
The evil genius Axlav of Terran.
Because
both of those players have ridiculously low APM.
They do.
And, okay, a lot of people are going to be like, well, that's not low APM, 60, 70, 80, whatever it might be. But for professional gaming, a lot of times we have so many actions to do.
Right.
I'm hitting around probably 150. Where are you at right now, Jake?
Like 150-ish.
Yeah, 150-ish.
Yeah,
so we're doing just about 2.5 actions every single second.
Right.
Right? That is a lot of actions. The really, some people are reaching 400, 500 APM, players like Vibe. There are a lot of other people that are reaching around 270, 300, whatever it might be. A lot of Koreans are known for their high actions per minute.
Right.
And what it really does, it gives you the ability to do multiple things within a small amount of time.
Yeah, I mean,
oh, go ahead.
I'm just gonna say, like, when you're under attack, and you have all these things to do, people that only have 60 APM, it's like they're limited on how much stuff they can actually pull off. To where, people with high APM like Vibe, if you can move that fast, then you should be able to do so many more things than your opponent to try to gain the upper hand.
Exactly. And you know what? Players like Show don't have that high of actions per minute, but they're still able to compete at the very, very top level because they just have great decision making.
They do. And that's the thing I love about Starcraft 2. There's so many different aspects to the game. You can be really good mechanics, and that's a great benefit to you. But then there's so much more than that too. You could be just an intelligent player where you make the correct decisions.
Yes.
Not necessarily you make more decisions than your opponent, but you make the correct ones.
Correct.
You got to love StarCraft 2 for that.
Yeah, I obviously I do. I love StarCraft 2 for so many things, but that is definitely one of the top ones. Just different styles. Of course, he's going to be going against KiwiKaki, which just seems to be almost the innovator of Protoss. I really feel like he's doing these cutting-edge things. I've actually seen, so a lot of times we see the 1-1-1 coming out of Terran players. KiwiKaki has really, really kind of popularized this 4-gate, 1 Stargate, 1 Robo build off of 1 base. And you know what? It's crazy. I was like,
wild.
Okay, it sounds wild, right? Sounds wild. I go on the Korea server and I play just a random Protoss. Excuse me, I'm Terran, of course.
Right.
I play a random Protoss, and they do that, and they beat me. I'm like, what is going on? And then I rematched him the map after, and I used your build. Guess what I did? Crushed him. Crushed the nerd.
So good.
But of course, I mean, you know what? It's crazy how much influence KiwiKaki has really gotten around the world.
He has.
And he's looking really, really cool.
He is. And I have to agree with, like, when you say he's one of the innovators. Like, ever since the beta and onward, he has done builds that's just, like, jaw-dropped people. Like, you're just, like, absolutely shocked. Like, it's not necessarily the matchup, but the Mothership Recall versus Machine. And I forgot what tournament it was. I want to say it was, like, the Reddit Invitational, maybe.
It was something like that,
yeah.
Yes.
And...
Or how about the double Immortal drop at MLG Raleigh against Idra?
Yeah.
First time, he's like, I'm going to Immortal drop Idra.
Mortal drop and warp in,
yeah,
like
warp in.
like 4-gate.
And that was at a time when nobody was using Immortals against Zerg.
Or Phase Prisms.
War Prisms.
Yeah, War Prisms.
And what an innovator. The guy is such a cool player, and I cannot wait to see both these players actually clashing, because it's really going to be a battle of the wits more so than a battle of execution, which is really, really cool. We're going to see that chess game.
Also, to put the cherry on top, I think the NASL is absolutely perfect for KiwiKaki. It gives him that time to come up with these specific builds for a matchup.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, I have show, in a week, so let me work on something and do my, and make magic.
Exactly. And I can't wait. I mean, the preparation that both these players are going to put in is going to be obscenely awesome. So that's going to finish things out. Our third match is going to be Jinro this time versus Morrow. This has to be, well, I'm going to actually say over Idra, this has to be the marquee matchup. This is the matchup that you have to watch because it's going to be so freaking cool. Yeah,
this is probably the matchup I'm looking most forward to. Even though my buddy Idra and teammate is playing, this is the matchup I think I'm looking most forward to. Morrow is an absolutely amazing Zerg player, and he has a very creative style of ZVT.
Yeah. You know what? It's funny. He actually switched Terran versus Zerg because he understands the matchup so well. He thinks that Zerg is a little bit favored, though, in this matchup. He gets to that stage where there's Infestors, Broodlords, and Corruptors. And I know, and you probably know, being a Terran previously, that is a scary army composition to be going up against when you are Terran.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you do against that? You need a lot of ghosts.
Yeah, a lot of ghosts.
and maybe a lucky nuke or something.
Yeah. I feel like, Terran in that scenario, if they know that their opponent, the Zerg, is going into that late game stage, that's what they're playing for. They're playing for that Broodlord, Infestor, Corruptor type army base. Then Terran really has to do the exact same and play for that late game. They have to start Ghost in the mid game to even get that number by the late game to really be effective.
Yeah, and it can be very, very difficult. Now, Jinro, on the other hand, this guy, I mean, everybody knows this guy. He has like a documentary